Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I'm going to call it a day. It's been a long day. I haven't been able to work on the truck as much as I want to, but we're in progress. Gonna have to cut the exhaust pipe that comes from the driver's side manifold back to the single pipe. No, this is not a dual, this is a single pipe exhaust. Just because the 3 bolts are completely excuse me, completely rusted out, oxidized. I really do not feel like messing around with those bolts, possibly rethreading or getting new exhaust manifolds. Not until I get some shorty or long tube headers. Now, if you look down here, you will notice that we have a long bar. This bar, ladies and gentlemen, is a torsion bar. Yes. Also, the frame for the transmission mount is out. It would have been a lot easier if I was able to take this off, but this truck has 1,000,000 miles. A lot of things do not go as they are planned. Now, back to the torsion bar. This truck being a 5-speed and it being 4-wheel drive, I wish I didn't have to do this, because now I've got to reset the suspension and all that fun. Some of y'all know what that's like. To be able to drop the transmission and then pull it back far enough, you have to remove the frame, the brace that holds that torsion bar. Meaning you will have to buy or rent the special bigger C-clamp style torsion bar key unloader tool, or a torsion bar tool if you want. And you will have to count the turns when you unbolt it, and then you're able to release everything and just tap it back out with a hammer. If it gives you any trouble, you can use some PB Blaster, which is my favorite, or WD-40. It should loosen it up and just tap it on out. That's not a problem. Same for this piece right here. Like me, if you cannot get this guard off, you will have to tap. If you still have the torsion bars in place, if you have not taken them off first, you will have to tap that. You can just take a ball peen hammer, a flat face framing hammer, something like that, 4-pound, 2-pound, whatever. Just tap it out. It's fine. It's easy. It'll go right back in. Remember the order that you took them out, which one was easier. But like I said, this truck has over 1,000,000 miles. It actually has 1,108,183. Might as well call that 3 because it's rolling over. There's some things that are going to give you hell. Even the trucks from around this era that only have 200-something thousand miles, because you got mud, rust, crud, whatever. Everything else is going pretty good. We're going to have to, like I said, cut out that exhaust pipe, because I've got to have the clearance for the shifter housing to clear the floorboard. Without being able to do that, it kicks the front of the transmission, also known as the bell housing. It kicks it up and into the floorboard, which somebody has done before, because I can see where the floorboard's just been mangled. I didn't see that earlier when I took the boot off, because I wasn't looking for it, but now looking up at it, I can see it. Somebody's really destroyed that, which is fine. All we got to do is bend it back out, and it'll be okay, no problem. Tomorrow, since it is now turning nightfall, tomorrow I will cut that pipe, transmission will be out, and I will give an update on how bad this clutch is. Now, my prediction is that I have broken a couple of fingers. Now, when I say fingers, I mean this. Let me get this clutch out of here real quick. There we go. All right. All right, see, that's the clutch plate. This is the actual meat. This is what wears out typically on a clutch. A brake tool from Miss Harmony. When I say fingers, I mean these right here. These are the clutch fingers. Now what happens, you see they're a little concave right here, or convex, whichever way you want to look at it. What happens is there's a bearing that sits right here. sits right here against the forks, which is pressed by your clutch pedal on all styles of clutches on automotive. What it does is it pushes in. Now I can't do it because of how strong this is. This is a 12-inch clutch. This is much more power than what I can push in. This is the bearing that sits there. You got forks that sit in and push and pull, push and pull. What it does, when these fingers are pushed in, the clutch actually flexes away, pulling this away from the flywheel, which is attached to the engine when it's pushed in. Now, when you release the clutch slowly, they flex back, making this touch the flywheel, which is, again, attached to the engine, and will make it turn with the flywheel. When the wheel is clutched in, you're able to turn the engine and flywheel without turning the transmission. Now, what happened on mine, since I still have great pressure against the flywheel, there is no slipping whatsoever. My problem is that when I push the clutch in, it doesn't fully release. I can't put it in first, I can't put it in low. The only reason I can put it in second is because my synchronizer is gone, and I can put it in reverse because, well, there is no synchronization on this transmission for reverse. You can just throw it right in there. Don't do that while you're going down the road. Just word of advice. If you want to destroy, which is now becoming a very rare transmission, just don't do that. What happens is that I will have to turn the truck off and then put it in gear and then start the truck. Now I can take away most of the pressure still by pushing in the clutch, but it still does not completely release it, meaning that it's still trying to move. So I've got to do what I'm doing now. Anyway, oh, and contrary to popular belief, I still don't know why or understand why people still say you have to do this. But on Chevy 350s, Chevy 454s, 305s, that style of block, you do not have to remove the starter. The starter bolts up to the engine. I don't know why people still think that it bolts up to the transmission like more normal stuff. It does not. The starter can sit there. You don't have to worry about arcing out any wires. You don't have to worry about removing the wires to your battery. Don't worry about it. What you are going to have to do is remove the slave cylinder because it bolts directly into the transmission. Now, on these transmissions, on these clutch slave cylinders, they are metal lines, not braided rubber, not steel braided, metal. Meaning that if you push it too far to one side, you can kink it. You can break it. If it's brittle enough, it will cause you problems. Don't do what I accidentally did and get it stuck behind one of the arm brackets, one of the fingers or hands, so you want to call it, on the transmission jack and behind the transmission, because then you got to pick up the transmission without the jack and then try to fish it back out of there. It's not a problem, it's just extra time. So, we're doing good. I should give you a little peek under here as I'm kicking stuff back under. Transmission is already really low. I still got it on the jack just to make sure everything's good. Oh, before I forget, when you take out these torsion bars, see these holes right here? This is where the brace goes, the little frame piece. That holds the torsion bars in. That's the piece, little keyway here. When you remove that, you might as well do it before you remove that. Jack up your truck a little bit. Just get a jack stand under it. The wheels do not have to be off the ground. Put a jack stand under it. Because as soon as you release those torsion bars, it may not happen exactly as you release them, and then knock the brace out and get them loose. The suspension system, if you've noticed, is a little lower now. The suspension system will unload and drop the front portion of the truck. It will drop it so far, so long as you have nothing else under it other than its own wheels, so far that this flare will actually come down on top of the tire. There's nothing else holding it up there. See, there's no spring or anything here on these trucks. All you have is the upper and lower control arms. What keeps it up there is the torsion bars. Now, I said earlier, count how many turns on the bolt that keeps the key in. Count how many turns you have to make when you are releasing that bolt. Why? Because if you get it to the T, or if you make a marking on it, if you get it, you will be back to factory settings, or at least the settings that were on there before you started this job. If not, and you are off, your ride will be all over the place. You'll be stiff on the passenger, loose on the driver, or over stiff or over loose, and you ain't nothing gonna feel right. Nothing at all. Once that happens, what you have to do is actually take it to a shop that has an alignment system. So, update over. Been a pretty good day. No rain. It was really warm. You see that I am in gravel, so I am absolutely filthy. I am going to be heading back to the house. So, thank you guys. This is just a little update. Have any questions about anything, give us a call, give me a message, whatever. Peace.